Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Come on in to the dinner table. You know your brother Tony, he has that good food for the soul. And go ahead and invite some more family members and friends to the dinner table. It's dinner time, so we can get those souls filled up tonight, my brother and sister. Also keep in mind that we may have some guests that may want to come to the dinner table. So be prepared to scoot down a little bit and let some of these new friends be able to set the dinner table so we could share some of this good food for the soul with them. If this is indeed your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk on relationships. When I talk about relationships, I basically talk to the established, proven relationships that's documented back in the book called the Bible. When you look in the book of Genesis, as we know that God is the author and finisher of all things, God is the one that created what is called the relationship. God original relationship and creation when it comes to the relationship between him and man. Then it transitioned to God and the woman. And thirdly, it transitioned to God representing the woman to the man, and that man being Adam and the woman being Eve. That's the position that I come from when I talk about relationship, that documented part how God created the relationships. If you're sitting at the dinner table or if you want to get some of this good soul food, I encourage you to sit down. You have what is called a free will. You may have a disagreement with what I'm talking about, but I still would like for you to get some of this dinner food or this food from the table because it will be nutritional for you. Uh, I'm on two different platforms. I'm on the book and I'm on the tube. Those of you that are on the tube, I may make some comments to those that are on the book. You may not see their names or comment, but I will call out their names and comments. And those of you that are on the book, I may make some reference to those that are on the tube. You may not see their names and comment, but I will call out their name and comment. We're all family here, okay? We're all family here. So we're about to get into it right now. And how you doing, Sister Tierra? How you doing? How you doing? Tierra Moore, how you doing? How you doing, Sister Parker? How you doing? Sister Parker said, I'm ready for some excellent soul food. Amen. Going back to Sister Tia said, Tony, if you and Cinderella haven't visited San Juan, Puerto Rico, you all should go. It's a very beautiful island. Thank you, Sister, for that insight. We may try to do that because we're trying to decide somewhere to go for our wedding anniversary. That's going to be the week of October the 9th. So we need, thank you for suggesting that I need to run that by Cinderella. Thank you for that, Sister Moore. I'm sure that you enjoyed it because you suggesting. So I will take that into consideration and share that with Cinderella. Thank you so much, sister. With that being said, my brothers and sisters, get ready for the this good meal at the dinner table. When you look at the menu, on the menu for tonight is, are you in an arranged or real relationship? Again, the topic that we're discussing at the dinner table tonight, are you in an arranged or real relationships? Now let's have this appetizer. In the appetizer, get a little taste of this. We're going to go to First Corinthians chapter 7, 2. That's First Corinthians chapter 7, 2. First Corinthians chapter 7, 2. And get a little taste of this appetizer. In this book is written, but since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife and each woman with her own husband. Again, this is the appetizer. Uh, Brother Paul, the Apostle Paul, he wrote this. But since sexual immorality is occurring, each man should have his relation with his own wife and each woman with her own husband. Okay, so that's what Paul just served up at the appetizer. Now, my brother, sister, if you think about it, or if you are already in a relationship, the question is, what type of relationship do you think a man and woman should be in? Will it be more than likely to succeed, or how can it become successful and rewarding and produce a great quality of peace of mind? Okay. So that's what we're discussing at the dinner table. Are you in arranged or a real relationship? Now, I'm going to break it down into three parts. The first part, I'm going to put something out there, okay? And what I'm about to put out there is arranged marriage, okay? We're going to talk about arranged marriage because some people get arranged marriage confused with arranged relationship, okay? So, an arranged marriage, my brother and sister, is a type of marital union where the bride and the groom are primarily selected by individuals other than the couples themselves, particularly by family members such as the parents. In some cultures, a professional matchmaker may be used to find a spouse for a young person. Arranged marriages are historically being kind of large, like prominent in many cultures. The practice remains common in many regions. For example, in South Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. That's where a whole bunch of arranged marriages are produced or prominent. Okay, so what do I mean by that? There are some family members, they would even arrange for little children to get married in the future. So in those cases, my brother and sister, in the far Middle East, that is a true sense. A boy and a girl, they already know that they're going to get married as they get older. It ain't got nothing to be with going out on no date and all that kind of stuff. The parents or there's some type of agreement, and there is a dowry that is given to the boy's family when him and the young lady get married. Okay, so in that sense, a man and a woman, they normally have to grow in love compared to the Western civilization. Because the Western civilization, it's about your feelings and dating and stuff like that, compared to the East, where a lot of arranged weddings are arranged. Okay, so as a matter of fact, my brother and sister, in the Western culture, the United States being one of the players in the Western culture, out of 10 relationships, 7 out of the 10, the relationship is arranged compared to 3 couples that are in a real relationship. What do I mean by a real relationship? I mean a serious, committed, moving towards the covenant, or it's already in the covenant phase of the relationship. So in the West, and like I say, the United States being one of them, majority of the couples, they are in an arranged relationship instead of the real being married. And I'm going to break this down. Now, when I say arranged relationship, some of you are familiar with the terminology shacking up. Are you really familiar with the topic shacking up, or cohabitation? As a matter of fact, my brother and sister, some years ago, I was in one of those type of relationships. I was in a shacking up relationship. It was wrong, and I learned something from it. You want me to tell you what I learned from it? Shacking up is not the best way to go. Some couples think that shacking up is the best way to go, or test driving the car, how some people want to say it. But shacking up, my brothers and sisters, there are some things about the shacking up. And the shacking up part is an arranged relationship. And then there are some marriages, believe it or not, my brother and sister, that get reduced to arranged relationship. Now, let me tell you this, my brother and sister, there are many men and women that are married. They are actually married, but they are in an arranged relationship. Now, some of you brothers and sisters, I don't want you to be naive. I want you to understand that there are a lot of men and women in the Western civilization, and the United States being one of them, They are married, but they did not get married for quote unquote love. Majority of the relationships, my brother and sister, that you see, and some of you may envy these couples because you think that they got it going on. A lot of those relationships, my brother and sister, aren't real. A lot of relationship, brother and sister, that you may see people on TV, you may see what appear to be successful power couples. They popular, they got it going on in what industry they are in, and the media label them as the power couple. But just because the media label them as a power couple, and not only the media, but there are some people that call these couple the power couple. That doesn't mean that they are in a real relationship. They are in an arranged relationship. Don't you know, my brother and sister, that there are some men and women, they get married for various reasons. It ain't about I love you and you love me. It's about let's get married, and this is what we can get out of being married. Now, let me break down what the shacking up or the cohabitation. When it comes to shacking and cohabitation, my brother and sister, most of the time the hope is that it will lead to marriage. That's the premises of most cohabitation and shacking up. Someone or both of them more than likely think that they're going to lead to marriage. Okay. Now, and that's one reason why some people shack up. Number two, the couple or roommates, or that's another terminology. That could be just friend with benefit. They stand together, but they gain some type of benefit from being together. They want to see that they are compatible. Or three, believe it or not, there are a lot of couples that stand together, my brother and sister, and this go beyond the pandemic. There are a lot of men and women that stay together because of rent, mortgage, and bills. It's a financial thing. Some people will stay together because quote unquote children. But a lot of people, they live up under the same roof, but they live in lives minus the person. A lot of people that you look at, my brother and sister, they sleep in different rooms. But you don't know they sleep in different rooms. But they be in the public, they holding hands and everything. And that's what some couples do, my brother and sister. So don't believe the hype every time you see a couple. So that's why, my brother and sister, that's why I always tell you all to be patient and ask God to hand pick the person that you should be with, to invest your time, your energy, into a good, healthy, strong relationship. Now, according to Susan Verkel, again, according to Susan Verkel, I did some research for you, my brother and sister. This is what she stated. She stated that you won't be surprised to learn that cohabitation or shacking up have skyrocketed in the U.S. Specifically, it has increased over the past half century, my brother and sister, by more than 1,500%. But that doesn't mean it's small. So what is Miss Susan saying? She's saying that cohabitation and shacking up, it's more popular than being married itself. That's right. More people, they are shacking up, cohabitation together for friends with benefits, but there is not no genuine seriousness in it. There's not no generous commitment in it. There's not no covenant part in the relationship. Now, many people, my brother and sister, they will shack for economical reasons. How you doing, Sister Flo? Welcome to the dinner table. So a lot of people, my brother and sister, they are currently in a relationship to shack up for economical reasons. But the research show, my brother and sister, and it proved that most couples do so in order to test waters. So most of the time when people decide to get in this arranged relationship, shacking up, it's most of the time to test it out to see what's going to happen. This, my brother and sister, this is especially true for those who are products of divorce and they don't trust marriage as an institution. So a lot of people that shack up, a lot of them are products of divorce. Either they have been through a divorce, they have witnessed a divorce at hand, and they don't trust the marriage part. Because some people, they have been railroaded in marriage. They went in because they had high, unrealistic expectations, and they find out that a real marriage is not perfect. So they went in with a cartoon attitude, or they were going by, I hope that I could change that man or woman on a subconscious level. And they find out the hard way that, as Gladys Knight and the Pimps would say, dreams don't always come true. Shout out to Midnight Train to Georgia, Gladys Knight and the Pimps. So that's what happened to a whole bunch of couples. They test out the shacking up, but it doesn't work. Let me tell you this, my brother and sister. Now, as you know, I try to be somewhat transparent to you, brothers and sisters. Like, I was in a situation many years ago, and what I'm going to tell you right now, it was wrong. I'm not glorifying what I did, but I decided to live with a woman initially, but we eventually got married. But I should not have done that. My brother and sister, my thing to you is, don't test the waters. Don't test the waters. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't live together and test the waters. Now, again, Sister Susan Verka, she made these 3 points, and these are 3 points she made. She said, number one, shacking up leads to a lower level of commitment and increased likelihood of divorce. And you, brother and sister, know that's the truth. Well, a lot of time when people live together, now some will get married, but a lot of those that do get married, a lot of time they end up getting divorced. Then two people that do not live together and they get married and they stay together long. They're not saying that they are exempted from divorce, but so the folks that don't live together and test water. Amen, sister. So this is what Sister Susan Verka saying. Number one, shacking up. She did research. This is what I'm telling you about. This lady did some research. Shacking up is linked to lower level of commitment. That's why I always tell you, brothers and sisters, a lot of time men will give women what is called a shut up ring. The woman think that is an engagement ring because they went to the jeweler and the jeweler said these are engagement ring, but in actuality, the man gave the woman a ring and she think that it's really what it said, but in his mind, it's a shut up ring. So he give the woman a ring and he just dangled a carrot in her face and she think that they're going to get married. And 5 years go by, no marriage. 10 years go by, no marriage. 15, 20, no marriage. Then they decide to break up, and then, oh boy, he go and marry someone. And then the lady get pissed off and want to talk about the man. But you see, brother and sister, you made a decision. No one forced you to live with him or her. No one that hold no gun to his or her head. No one that have no knife to his or her back. Most of the time when people do these things, enter into a relationship, they consciously do it. No one normally forced them to do it. They actually decide to do it. Number two, and this is very critical, women are far more likely to view cohabitation or shacking up as a step to marriage, while men are more likely to see it as a way to test a relationship or to postpone commitment. Listen to this again. That's what I just told you, my brother. So according to this lady, Susan Verka, the number two reason about shacking, she say, and that's the arranged relationship, women are far more likely to view cohabitation as a step toward marriage. So women are more focused on getting to the finish line. So a lot of times women are prepared to move in with a man or let the man move in with her, but with the intent, most women, not all, that we're going to say I do in the end. But you see, and this is what I've been telling you all the time, and this lady did research. Before I went and did some research on it, I already knew it. But now I'm giving you a name of the lady who did the research. And she said, and this is true, most men that shack up, get into a cohabitation thing, it's just like testing a relationship to see whether or not he going to marry the woman or not. More than likely, he's on the fence. He's on the fence when he move in with her. He's on the fence when she move in with him. And that leads to postponing the commitment. That's the shut up ring phase. Now, number 3, Miss Susan Verka said, she said, shacking up doesn't allow for the objectivity couple need in trying to determine whether or not they should marry. Instead, they get in deeper and deeper until they can't see the forest for the trees, my brothers and sisters. As a result, these men and women that get into that arranged or shacking up relationship or the boyfriend and girlfriend thing for years, they end up sliding into marriage. They slide into marriage rather than deciding to marry. So they slide in, but they really don't decide. So they just enter this particular arranged relationship. So they say, we might as well go ahead and do it. There ain't really much decision. Living in a separate space make it easier, my brother and sister, to make a well thought out decision. Understand that when you're living apart and you are seeing a man or woman, sister and brother, you could see more of the forest if you don't live together. You'll be more objective when you're not living together. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but it's true. You would be more objective, and it would be a well thought out decision because it go more than the emotional, or we might as well do it. Now, my question to you, my brother and sister, is what's on the menu again tonight. If you are entertaining getting into a relationship, or if you are already in a relationship, my question to you, are you interested in being in an arranged, or are you already in a range, or are you in a real relationship? Now, doing more research, my brother and sister, according to the Houston Chronicles, again, according to the Houston Chronicles, that's this big newspaper in Houston, Texas, the Houston Chronicle, they reported, this is what they reported, that couples who live together before marriage have an 80% greater chance of getting a divorce after they are married than those who don't cohabitate first. This is more research. Again, the Houston Chronicle, when they did their research, they find that people that shacking up, calling themselves girlfriend and boyfriend, me and my boo, and all that kind of stuff, what they want to throw in. How you doing, mother? Welcome to the dinner table. The Houston Chronicle said 80% of these type of relationships have a greater chance of divorce after they are married than they who don't cohabitate first. Now, I have given you statistics. Some of you have lived it yourselves. I have lived it myself, and I was in that 80 percentile, my brothers and sisters. Some of you are in the 80 percentile. Some of you about to be in the 80 percentile because you choose to play husband and wife. You choose to be in a relationship with someone that is friends with benefits. Now, my question to you, brothers and sisters, is what does God think about this topic that we're talking about at the dinner table? Do God want you to be in an arranged or a real relationship. Like I told you all last night, let's say, now you know God's presence is everywhere. Let's say that Jesus himself materialized right in front of you, and you know it's the Lord because the doors are locked and everything, and you, brother, and you, sister, you're sitting down looking at TV. You are living together, but you're not married, or you live together and you are married. So you're living together, or you're in a relationship with friend with benefits, and you think he your husband or she your wife, and Jesus all of a sudden, without calling you or ringing your doorbell, he materialized in the physical flesh, and you flipping the channel, and Jesus come and sit down in the chair. Now you see him with your eyes. Now, when you don't see him, you know he exists, but you're not really thinking that he is. You know what I mean? You know he exists, but because you don't see him with your eye, you might not really be thinking about it. But just say Jesus pop in while you looking at TV, flipping the channel, and you in a relationship. If you're in an arranged relationship, what would he think about it? As a matter of fact, would you be in an arranged relationship if you knew Jesus, if Jesus was going to come to your place? If you're in an arranged relationship, would you want Jesus to come in? Will you offer Jesus a cup of coffee inside the house or outside? Do you want Jesus to come in? Do you want Jesus to stay in the spare room? If you're in an arranged relationship, what would you think about that guest room and Jesus is in that guest room? Can you sleep at night if you're in a arranged relationship? What does that mean? If you're shacking up or you friend with benefit, what would you be thinking? Why, if Jesus didn't say nothing, but you know he's in there, in that room? Now you see, Jesus, he decided to come and visit you, but he ain't said nothing. Does he have to say anything? How would you think and what would you feel? Would you feel comfortable with Jesus in that other room? You married people. Those of you that are engaged, moving towards marriage, and you flipping the TV, how would you feel if Jesus materialized and come to you? You probably would not have no problem because you know what? You're engaged and you are moving towards getting married because you want Jesus to be a part of the foundation. That's why you won't mind Jesus popping in the flesh. But you ain't no hardly have Jesus if y'all engaged. You're not gonna hardly have Jesus. You ain't gonna have her staying in your house or he staying in your house. But you won't mind Jesus coming while y'all visiting one another. You won't mind that, right? Because Jesus know the intent that you're engaged with a date, plan on getting married, or you're married. Now, if Jesus materialized and y'all flipping the channel, you definitely won't have no problem after you know he ain't no ghost, because just Jesus that pop in and sit right by you. He don't give you no warning. You flipping the TV and he just pop in after you start being shake up, but you are in a serious committed and covenant relationship. And that's the guest room. You wouldn't mind Jesus going in there. You'll sleep probably peaceful at night, wouldn't you? Because you're in the right type of relationship. Now, question again, what type of relationship? What do you think God think about this topic tonight? As it is written, my brother and sister, in 1 Corinthians 7, at chapter 7, 8 through 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, 8 through 9. 1 Corinthians 7, 8 through 9. Sister Flo said, "Now I will not feel comfortable." Sister Flo being honest, she said, "I wouldn't feel comfortable with that scenario that I use about the shacking or the friend with benefit." Paul said, "Now to the unmarried and the widow, I say," that's what Paul said, it is good for them to stay unmarried as I do. But if they cannot control themselves, They should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. Listen again. You see, why did Paul write this to the church of Corinthians, the first letter that he wrote? And he said he addressing a certain group of people, and he's addressing some of you brothers and sisters right now. Paul said, now to the unmarried, that's single. You see, during that time, they didn't say single. They said you unmarried. So to the unmarried, single, and the widow, that's someone that have lost their spouse. I said, and the question is, it is good for them to stay unmarried. Now, Paul saying it ain't nothing wrong with you staying unmarried or quote unquote single. He said nothing wrong with it. It ain't nothing wrong with it. But now here comes another thing. As I do, Paul said, because I'm single. But you see, we know Paul was an apostle, and Paul was on a different type of mission while he was here. Now Paul used the word but. Anytime you see the word but or therefore, that means is but or therefore for a reason. Paul said, but contrast according to what I just said previously. Paul said, but if they cannot contain themselves, what does that mean? That means that if a man have a desire to be with a woman physically, and a woman have a desire to be with a man physically, Paul said they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. It don't mean you burn in hell, my brother and sister. It means you burning with passion. Brother, you want to get to that woman. Sister, you want to get to that man. That's what Paul is talking about. So what does it mean? Is it better to marry than to burn? According to Paul again, this is what he meant. If an unmarried couple are burning with passion for each other, they need to marry so they will not sin. Anytime, my brother and sister, if you are in an arranged relationship, like I used to be, and some of you brothers and sisters are right now, when I sin heavily, if I were not married, sisters and brothers, if I were not married, and I had physical intimacy with women, not woman, but women, that meant, and I was unmarried, but I did this, I was sinning. When I was doing and it was not called making love to no woman. I was not making love to no woman. I was fornicating. That's what I'm going to call it what it is. I was not making love. I wasn't even expressing love. I was fornicating, like some of you brothers and sisters doing right now. Some of y'all did it this past week. Some of you going to do it maybe tonight. Some of you probably going to do it in a few days. But if you're not married, like me, I'm not holier than thou. I know, my brother and sister, called I did the fornication. I don't know how many times, but I did the fornication like a lot of you all don't know how many times. What you burning with passion. And that's not no reason, my brother and sister, to get in a real relationship. You see, when you get into a real relationship, it's more than the physical part of the relationship. You need to have something else that make that relationship go beyond the physical. Because when you get in a real relationship, that is ordained by God. Now, every man and woman that gets married, that doesn't mean that it's a real relationship, because like I had said earlier, there are some married men and women. They are married, but it's arranged. Don't you know, my brother and sister, you have heard stuff like this before. Some people marry other people from other countries to get that little green card. It ain't got nothing to do with love. It's an arrangement. There are some men and women that living right now. They say they still together for their children. They don't have nothing else to do with one another. It's just a daddy there and a mama there. And then daddy doing his thing, that mama doing her thing, but they together for the children. So they say. And then there are a couple that do not have children. There's a lot of couples that don't have no children. But the man, he don't love his wife. She doesn't respect him. They are cohabitating together for the bills. They just there for the bills. No physical intimacy. Now, there are some married people that they there for the bills. They there for the physical intimacy, but the man got him a woman out there, and the woman got her a man. Now, beware, my brothers, and beware, my sister. It's not wise to get into an open relationship. God is not pleased with married people getting an open relationship. He's not pleased at all. So, my brother and sister, if you are currently practicing open relationship, or you're about to get into an open relationship, the only thing you do is the mess that you're already in is going to get messier. There's no understanding in open relationships. I need to talk about that tomorrow. Let me write it down. If you don't mind, my brother and sister, if you don't mind, let me put that down right quick. Okay. Thank you, brother and sister, for giving time. If you are in an open relationship, if you are in one of those relationships where y'all have to meet the couple and y'all have to decide who's going to be in it, if you want, or if you are a swinger, do you think God like that kind of stuff? That's from the pit of hell. That's from the devil. That's from Satan. It's nothing holy about it. God only bless relationship that does it his way. That's the world's way, my brothers and sisters. Don't get entangled in the world affairs. If you delight in the Lord, my brother and sister, when it comes to relationship with a person of the other gender, work towards being serious, committed, and then move towards the covenant relationship. That's what God desires. God wants the best for you, brother. He wants the best for you, sister. He wants the best for you. Don't shortchange yourself in being in an arranged relationship. Go for the real. If there's any question or comments, my brother and sister, we're at the end of our dinner for tonight. If you have any question or comments, go ahead and put the word wait in the comment and then write your question or your comment. Other than that, if you don't have no question or comment, go ahead and put some of this good soul food in his carrot plate. Your brother Tony, he's going to clean up everything. All I want you all to do is come and get some of the good soul food. I'm going to clean up all the pots and pans. I'm going to do everything. Because you, my brother and sister, you are guests. And I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. You all have a good night and take something from this. Are you in an arranged or real relationship? Peace out.